Good day, everybody. My name is Mike Lurg, the Chief Technology Officer for PIX Virtual Reality. We also have Chris Sayer, our Art Director, for this webinar. They will be explaining the use of AR, VR, and MR, and how they all relate to each other under the umbrella of XR, Extended Reality. And for some background, Chris and myself have worked with virtual reality and 3D technologies for visualization, simulation, and training for over 20 years. And we've never seen VR used as ubiquitous, as broadly as it is now today. So one of the things to keep in mind, there's in the chat function, the user interface, you can post your questions there. And in that section, we'll get to those questions at the end of the webinar. We've got to answer your questions then. So, sorry. One of the key things we're going to be doing is explaining the terminology and how they apply. We'll be doing projected trends of the different technologies for extended reality. And then we'll be showing and demonstrating some prevailing uses of extended reality for the commercial real estate industry. So in terms of virtual reality, there's two types of virtual reality. Traditionally, you can interact with a three-dimensional environment using electronic devices such as Google head-mounted displays or Google glasses or a screen or gloves. But recent years, it's expanded to be 360 spherical images, which we have an example here for Google Street View. And this is passive because you're locked into a certain camera position, and I can turn and look around, and I can jump from point to point, but I can't stand on the curb. I can't go inside of the buildings. I can't freely look around or walk around like I would in an active scene. So that's some of the limitations of the passive experience. It also requires you must visit the site to be able to take the photography. Whereas with the active experience, I'll launch this executable, it's a 3D model that you can walk through and take a tour of and experience from any point of view. No access. It has never done this before.
Yeah, so while Mike's trying to troubleshoot this, so, the thing to remember, passive is a very passive experience. You can only move through the scene by clicking in one direction or another, and you can look around, and that's it. You can't do anything else other than that. Also, one of the things is the dependency on the time that the photo was taken. So, if anybody's gone through the Google Street View and visited your old home or place of business, you'll see that, maybe the satellite photo was taken, 15 years ago, and the site doesn't look the same at all. So the time that it was taken also is a factor in the passive experience because it's based on photos. Now with the active experience, what we're going to show is that the environment is fully and freely navigatable, so you can go anywhere you want within the scene. You can also click on any of the objects that are editable, and we can change colors of the chairs, we can change the placement of the chairs, we can change the time of day. And so we're able to do all these different things in an active experience. Are you still having a problem, Mike?
Yeah, my system's locked up. I can't click on anything. I am completely locked.
Okay, well, let's do this then. Let me get set. Don't unshare yet, but let me make sure that I can change over here. Give us 1 second, guys. Sorry about this.
We will simply start over. Looks like I need to restart my computer. I can't even do a soft boot. So.
Okay, let's see if we can get my screen shared.
I'm setting you up as the
Let's do that.
host. You're now the host.
Okay. Can you see my screen, Mike?
I can, but I'm going to have to reboot my computer, so you'll be running it on your own first minute.
Okay. Join back when you can. All right, so we've all seen the first slide. Very exciting stuff. Looks great, right? Let's move forward. Once again, overview, VR, AR, MR, and XR. We're going to talk about each of these in great detail. And we were at the passive versus active experience. Let's go in here and let's click on the active experience. It's funny, mine's not set up as well, but I know how to do it just so we can do it. Let's do this. And it's launching now. And so, as I said before, what we're going to show is the difference between the passive and the active. And hopefully it's quite noticeable. So as you can see, we're now in the 3D virtual environment, and I'm able to look around just as if I would in the passive experience, but I can also walk wherever I want in the scene. So I can actively walk throughout any place in the scene. And as you can see, what's going to start happening here is as I get close to stuff like doors, those are going to respond to my presence and they're going to open up. We can walk all the way down here to this side of the building. And let's say that we want to demonstrate some of those interactive objects like I was talking about before. So in the active experience, we can move objects because they're fully 3D. We can rotate them. We can set them up as if people just had lunch. They left a mess. Let's just say they left all their chairs out there. And then we can go in and we can change and customize the materials. So we can come in here individually and we can say whatever color we want to set the chairs up to. We'll make them all a little bit different. And yeah, so we can make the scene unique by adding in different materials. We can also swap objects in and out of the scene. So I can change the table type. I can also change the chair here to multiple types of chairs. And so essentially we're able to actively, participate in the layout of the environment, change it around, change the surfaces, and interact with all of these different objects. Another thing that we can do as well, which you can't do in a passive experience, we can change the time of day. And so as you see here, as we come across the slider here, we're actively moving the sun across the sky, changing the time of day, which we can do for light studies, and we can demonstrate what, what an area would be like at noon versus 3 o'clock versus 6 p.m. So we can do that as well. Another thing we can do is we can measure inside the scene. Come in here. We can see this is 14 feet 1 inch, so we can tell whether or not a table is going to fit here or some other piece of furniture. And then also we can jump right outside here with one press of a button, and we can look at the floor plan view. We can come out here. We can see the different areas of the surrounding city. We can even see the Hollywood sign all the way back there in the hills back in the background here. And so this helps to demonstrate a little bit more about the difference between an active experience, such as we saw here, versus the passive, which is, Google Street View or Matterport for that matter. Okay, augmented reality. So what we're going to show here is how we can project a virtual model onto the real world. And so we're going to play this guy out. And what you're going to see here is this empty lot. And as this turns around, now we've got a house on here. So you can see no house. And in a second, the house pops on. He's looking through the camera or the tablet and surveying the area. And you can even see there's another person here in the scene because this is being projected onto the viewfinder of your phone or tablet. And it is looking at the surrounding area and maintaining the presence of the model on that lot. And so we're able to take a look at what a virtual home would look like in the lot before the home is built, walk around it, walk inside of it, look around it, all with just your phone or tablet in this case. And just by looking at the screen and pointing left or pointing right, you're able to get a view of the model prior to construction, and even during the design phase. People use this now so that you can walk through the virtual model, test out the doors, test out the layout of the floor plan, get a feel for the open spaces and how it works. And it's an amazing way to feel like you're in an environment without actually being in an environment. The other thing you can do as well, if you consider, putting furnishings and staging a home, you can also have virtual furniture placed throughout your home using the technology, and stage your home and see, do you like this couch? Do you like this table? And if not, swap it out. And I believe IKEA has a pretty good application that handles that.
I'm back in, Chris.
Okay. All right. Let me hand back over to you. Are you set up and everything? Or?
Yep. Yeah, no problem. So with mixed reality, that's where the virtual elements are actually interacting with the real world elements. So for example, with the HoloLens, as you'll see here, the
okay, you should have control now, Mike.
Oh, okay. Where's your screen? I've lost your screen. I can't see your screen. So, can you hear me, Chris?
Can't see. Yeah, I can hear you. Let me.
So, I'm logged in, but I don't have visibility.
Okay.
The shared screen disappeared.
Let's change it back to me.
Yeah.
We'll change it back to me. We'll just keep this going like
Yeah,
this.
just keep it there. Sorry for the delay. This has actually never happened.
Are you able to see the video now, Mike, or should I just continue with this?
Yeah, I'll have to log back out to log back in again, I guess, to get the screen to pop up. Can't see.
Okay, I'll just hopefully everybody can see my screen, and if not, then just type into the chat thing that you can't see my screen.
I got it now.
So in this,
go ahead.
In this video, I got you, Mike. Okay, so in this video, we're showing a mixed reality experience. And I'm going to play it back from the beginning, and I do apologize for all the technical difficulties we're having today for some reason. So mixed reality, the virtual objects and the information overlay with the real world. So take the idea of the AR, which is augmented reality, where we were looking at the home, but now we're looking at information and objects being overlaid into the real world. And unlike AR, where the virtual reality asset is simply projected onto the environment, in mixed reality, the virtual object can recognize, identify, and interact with the real world objects, as being shown here, where we're looking at the wrench, on the actual object, and she can see what she's got to do with her tools. And when her tool interacts with the physical object, we're able to identify that happening and move the set of instructions forward. And so, imagine using mixed reality as a test fit tool within a real space. You have the ability to delete, move, and create new walls, or place office furniture and other assets in real time while standing within the space. So you're physically moving objects around in the real world virtually. Okay, extended reality. So we have virtual reality, we have augmented reality, and mixed reality. So what is mixed reality? So mixed reality is the comprehensive term that includes both virtual and augmented, where the X represents a variable for these and anything in the future coming up. So mixed reality is virtual and augmented and anything else. So it's, it's a banner to hold all of the different types of reality. So you can just say mixed reality, and you're talking about whatever it might be. Okay. Okay, and so these charts represent the VR and AR usage within the US for all industries, not just commercial real estate. The red represents augmented reality, the black represents virtual reality users without headsets, and the gray represents VR users with headsets. So this first chart, the number of AR users, defined as anyone who has experienced AR once within a month, has surpassed both VR users with and without head-mounted displays. And so by head-mounted displays, we mean something that you have to physically put over your head and look at with goggles to experience. And so this is reaching 95.1 million in just 2 years. Part of this is the way eMarketer.com has defined an AR experience. So if you've used your phone to put on a virtual hat, glasses, I think a lot of people have done that, or played with other visual effects, then you've had an AR experience. So it's fairly broad. You don't think of it in those terms. And click. And so the second chart shows the market penetration of augmented reality versus virtual reality, with augmented reality reaching 28.2% by 2022. Despite their definition of augmented reality, the global market for extended reality is expected to grow at a staggering compound annual growth rate of 45% from 2020 to 2030. And the driving factor for this market growth is driven by a range of factors, including increasing smartphone penetration, rising demand for digital environments, the growing popularity of augmented and virtual reality technologies, and its applications beyond just gaming and entertainment, as shown in the previous video.
If I ever can add a fact onto that, recent research has shown there's now 3.6 billion AR or VR enabled smartphones on the market. And so that's the target audience. And then there's over 600 million users of active users of augmented reality off of smartphones. So one of the things with the other studies is it's been proven numerous times that 3/4 of people in general cannot visualize a 3D space by looking at 2D drawings. So it's very hard for them to imagine what it's like to be in that space. 75% want a VR tour before seeing properties. And then 66 prefer brokers who offer VR tours, which that's then led to 88% believe that a firm should use VR in their sales and marketing. And with recent research, it's showing that, at least in the residential market, about 90% of large agencies are using a form of VR. So in terms of the life cycle of a property, using VR or AR, the sooner you use it, the more return on investment there is, because taking the 3D model and its capabilities from one stage to the next for another purpose is incremental, rather than having a large expense at the end of the project. So during the design phase or pre-construction phase, we need to get permit approvals, capital raising, anything like that. That's a key aspect of being able to give somebody a tour. They can see exactly what it's going to be like, and they don't have to try to interpret from your plans or elevations and a few renderings or possibly an animation. During development and even pre-development, we've had some of our clients actually achieve 95% pre-sales and pre-lease rates. And so some of them have virtually sold out before construction was complete by using VR. And then once you have a property that's finished, you can use it for ongoing leasing, sales, as well as asset and property management, because especially with augmented reality, and when you start getting into smart buildings, there's another trend that's coming. You can actually do data analysis in terms of usage. So there's all sorts of applications that can apply across the entire life cycle of a building. So we're going to start off with an example with a planning. So we were given a site plan of a particular property, and this is the conceptual layout of what it was going to be repurposed and possibly sold for to have a developer take over and build the building. And so we then took it and worked with the client to build a 3D representation of that. And go ahead, Chris.
Okay, and so what we're going to show here is we're going to see how much easier it is to understand the overall plan using, virtual reality versus looking at your standard 2D plan. So we got the site plan here, and many seasoned folks here will be able to understand what's going on, but you may not catch all the details, and a lot of people won't understand exactly what's going on. And this is made much clearer once you start taking a look at the actual plan built out in 3D in virtual reality. So we're going from 2D to 3D, and then ultimately we can come in here and we can start taking a look at it in multiple views to really get a great understanding of everything from the layout of the doors, the windows, the look and feel of the buildings, and the parking lot, and ultimately how this is all laid out. And while we can look at it from above, we can also come in and we can take a look at it at the ground level, and we can walk through the site as if we're actually there. And that's the beauty of this technology, is that you can experience it in real time running in a browser. So I haven't made this clear yet, but this is just running inside of a web browser. You don't need fancy equipment anymore to run a virtual reality experience. And, you don't need heavy duty equipment to do it either. So nothing to download. You open up a link in a web browser, or you embed a virtual reality tour in your website with your listing. And you can actually go in and easily take a tour of the site. And we can even have this option of a auto tour functionality, where instead of you having to go in and click and try to navigate yourself, if you want to have a movie style presentation, one click of the button will do that, and that's going to take you through all the different camera positions that we have set up in this virtual experience of this site.
In this next example, you'll see the site on the left was the current site. It was going through renovations, both internal and external. And in the process of that, they're also going to expand on the right and include that lot in their property. So they needed approvals for the parking and for the building height limitations and privacy of the neighbors that are behind, because it was those buildings on the right are going to be 3 stories instead of 2 stories. So here we have a 360 video. So every frame is a 360 still image. So it allows you to look at any angle at any time. And as we get down towards the end here, you'll see the new development. And you'll see that that top tier, the floor plan, the balcony is recessed back from the retaining wall, or the privacy panel wall. And that's to show to the clients that they're the neighbors that live behind them, that they would have the same privacy. And we'll drop down to the actual view from that backyard.
One more over. Let's go take a look from here.
Right, yes. So you can see that from the backyard, you can't see into the top floors, and the second floors have the same level of privacy as the existing buildings. So we're able to help the clients prove that point to the neighbors and to the town council and anybody who's involved in the permitting process. In addition, we're able to show that the neighboring hotel across the street was actually taller than this building, so it was clearly meeting the height requirements. And so it definitely expedited the process of getting their approvals through. And then in terms of capital raising, having a virtual tour available before construction definitely helps out, especially when these clients, as well as some others of ours, have actually achieved 95% pre-sale, pre-lease rates on that property. So that way they can help them qualify for their funding before construction, and they can release the funds earlier than planned, eliminating the risks to the owners and investors. So some of the ways that VR and XR can be used in marketing, is across all forms of marketing, basically. There's no reason that it can't be used across traditional media using a QR code to have your smartphone linked to the VR experience itself, or link it to any electronic digital media, whether it's social media, website, listing page, and it can be embedded like an image. Next. So in terms of an example of the pre-renovation, we're going to show a multifamily complex. And so this building was an abandoned schoolhouse. It's in an urban area of Chicago. And because of that, they qualify for some funding for redevelopment. And it's a historical building, so it can't be demolished. And so obviously you can't use any images of this. And it actually was unsafe to walk through because of the hazards inside. So by having a quick tour, a virtual tour of it, then
Let me open it up, Mike. Sorry about that. You can explain a little more while I'm opening it, please.
So in both of these cases, the one on the left is apartments, and they had pre-leased 9 of the 24 units in the first 2 months while they were still clearing out the building. And then on the right, that building actually sold out pre-construction completion. And because it sold out so quickly that the second phase, while it was still in the design phase, had pre-sold 80% of the units, and those are condominiums. So those are pre-sales versus pre-leasing. So now back to the Edsel building, we're looking at the exterior of the building, the post-renovation with a large mural on its side. And I'll let Chris take over from here.
Yeah, and so you can see the difference between the state of the building that it was in, which is not presentable. And then what we're able to do is we're able to take that into a very presentable, finalized state where we can show off what the floor plan is going to look like. We can show off what the exterior of the building looks like with all of its windows intact and the paint and nice brick finished. And we can give a really nice tour of this property. What's even better though is we can come in and we can even go deep dive into one of the units. So let's take a look at what the one bedroom looks like. Once again, this is running inside of a web browser. So all I have to do is click, this loads up, and we are now inside the property. And we can freely navigate in an active experience. We can walk throughout here. We can see what the bedroom looks like, bathroom, the little desk area, little sitting area here, kitchen, and we can see what this all looks like here. And what's really nice too about this technology is that you can get an unlimited number of screen renderings out of it. So all we have to do is press T on the keyboard. That's going to take a render, and we now have a material that we can put into our flyers, into our listing, and send out along with the quick tour, or even embed into a website if we want. We can take unlimited renderings from this. So as with more traditional methods where you're paying per render, with a VR experience, you actually get unlimited renderings from it. So it serves twice the purpose. And we'll come back out here. We'll take a look at the exterior again real quick, and we can see what the floor plan looks like laid out. And we'll take a look at the 2-bedroom just to show how different the interior is structured. So we've got different walls, we've got different flooring, we've got some of the same furniture, but we can walk through this and we can really get a great understanding of what the difference is between the 1-bedroom and the 2-bedroom unit, how it's laid out, and how it functions. And we can also take a look from the overhead view and see what the floor plan looks like. So we can do that with any one of these. We can jump back and forth from the floor plan view to the interior view to the building view. Okay, and let me open up the other one.
And this is the one that's sold out pre-construction completion.
And so you can see here embedded throughout the website, we've already got some of these renders set up from the 3D tour. We'll come in here and take a look at once again and jump right in. And you can see we've got these tours embedded right into the website itself. So as you scroll down, it's just like hitting the play button on a video, but in this case, we have an actual live real-time 3D tour that we can walk through. And so we can take a look around, we can change out the interior. In fact, let's make this slightly larger. So now we've got a full screen experience. We'll go to the floor plan. And the best part about it is that let's go into the unit itself. And we can change out all of the different surfaces. So we can say, let's take a look at this with the package B, which will change out our flooring. It's going to change out our countertops. Going to change out our cabinetry and the paint color on the walls, give us a different feel. And then if we come to the C package, we can also see the difference in colors, changing out of the counters, cabinets, and flooring, and we can walk through the space and get an understanding of the, how these changes impact the look and feel of the space, and walk through it virtually.
So for this next slide, this is a listing page, and in this case using Marketplace. And if you notice that the 3D icon is in color there, it'd be grayed out if you didn't have a 3D virtual tour. But having it, by adding a link to the list of references, that activates it. And then by clicking on it, that then will open it up in a new browser tab to then be able to experience that building. In this case, it was an industrial distribution center, and they literally had just a site plan and some reference photos of an existing building of theirs. And they were trying to sell the client on buying the site and having the building built, and doing the whole project. And so they needed a quick turnaround. They had 4 days from when they contacted us, and we were able to create this virtual tour in 3 days. From what they gave us.
Yeah, and once again, with the active experience, we can go through, we can change the materials inside of the scene on the building itself. We can come up here and we can say, let's take a look at some additional, I'll go to the building overhead. Let's look at some additional information that we could also embed into a virtual tour. So we can click on, let's click on this guy right here. And what that's going to do is that's going to load Google Maps directly into the virtual reality tour. And we can interact with this as if we're actually going into the web page of a Google Maps. And we can zoom in, zoom out, and then we can show exactly where this building is going to be. Clicking the eye is going to load up a web page. In this case, it's our web page for our demonstration purposes. But you can link a web page to a model right inside the scene. And then let's go over here to the warehouse. We can look inside of the model, and we can also jump into it just like we can with any one of our other tours. And let's say we want to get a little bit more information on the sprinkler system, the lighting, and the doors. Clicking on the sprinkler system is going to load up a video. It's going to play through, and it's going to give some information about that particular type of sprinkler system. Now, as far as lighting, we can get more information about the lighting, click through, we can even add it to our cart if we need another one, and we can get all of the relevant information we need about this particular lighting. And then the door is the same way exactly. So, we can drill down and get more information on individual components of a site, or, whatever they need to be, whatever needs to be told about the actual physical space we can put into it, including just some overhead information, project size, in this case, parking spaces, docks, clear ceiling height, relevant to the industrial complex here. And then finally, we can come over here to the office. Let's just see what the office layout looks like. And we can see how this is set up. You can see where the entrance, where we come in, the open space, the individual offices, maybe the break room over here. And then once again, we can come into it and we can walk this site as if we're really there. We can just one click on the ground, takes us over to this office. You can see how that's laid out. Look around here. Once again, this is all running inside of a web browser. So we don't need fancy equipment to run this. Your phone, tablet, PC, laptop, doesn't matter what it is. It all works with this so long as you have a web-enabled device. Very important. And you can also share this experience on Facebook or other social media with one click of a button. So I can post the scene up there. People can click on it. They can take a virtual tour right from the social media.
So for this next project, during the pandemic, there was a gym, 12,000 square foot facility. They decided to close up their business. And so the client then wanted to present that space in 3 different modes. And so one was for retail, the second was a medical clinic, and then third was for an office space, a high-tech space. And so we were able to take that property and actually populate it and stage it in the various ways that you'll see here.
And so once again, we've got our building here with the space and it's vacant. So we're going to go take a look at the floor plan view of that. Very simple, very open floor plan. We jump right into it. One click of a button is going to take us right into the building itself, right into the property. And then once again, coming back to the active VR experience, we're able to walk throughout this. One click on the ground is going to take us to any point, or we could use our mouse and keyboard and, drag and then just zoom in to walk forward, or we can use the WASD keys. Doesn't really matter. We make it as simple as possible to experience a virtual tour. And so you can see, we can see exactly where all the support structures are. We can see where the doors are. And we get a great understanding. But what's even better is that we can now take a look at this space if it were laid out for the medical clinic. So we can take the space, repurpose it, and reconfigure it for multiple use cases. And as we look at this one, we're going to go take the roof off of this same space, but now you can see we've got it populated. Let's go to the floor plan view. We can see we've got it redemised with a whole bunch of different dividing walls and offices and everything else. We've got nurses stations. We've got the conference area here. And if we walk into the space, we're going to feel slightly different than it did when it was vacant, because it's all populated. So we come through here, we can see we've got some video embedded into the wall over here. And we can walk throughout, look wherever we want, freely navigate, and ultimately go all the way into one of the examination rooms and see what this space looks like without any of this existing other than the vacant space.
Keep in mind that the client did not have this is a conceptual design, so this does not exist, in that it allowed them to market towards the medical sector. And the next scene here also to target the office sector for a high-tech firm.
So again, floor plan view, very different. We've got these open areas where we've got all these desks. We've got some offices back here along the back wall, some conference area and desks around here. And then we've got the receptionist over here to the right-hand side versus going in all the way on the left. So if we jump into this, we can walk straight through the front here, right past the receptionist, and see what this feels like. Same space, very different feel, very different layout, and really changes the perspective of how the space can be used, and the look and feel and overall personality of it as well. And once again, if you need some sort of a 2D marketing material, press P on the keyboard. That's going to now create a render for us that we can then embed into the website or share with anybody we want. And we can take as many of these as we like because it's part of the model. Just walk throughout and take pictures to your heart's content.
Okay. So I know you joined in late, Lathan. Wasn't sure if you have a mic or if you're able to call in. Feel free to talk to us or so I'll unmute your mic.
Bosses and on another topic, and so I had to get back when I could, and so I just came in about 10 minutes ago,
Yeah.
But I'm getting the idea here. I'm watching.
Sure. And being able to, so the one thing that I haven't discussed with you when I was talking about navigation techniques yesterday was hitting the P key on your keyboard.
Oh,
So,
right.
And if you hit the P key, that'll then actually give you a screen resolution rendering. So if you have a 4K monitor, it'll make a 4K rendering. And then those images can be used for prints or for websites or listings or however you want for digital or traditional marketing.
Okay. Great.
Do you have any other questions since yesterday?
I don't at the moment, but I can tell you that I've got a space that I've got to work on, and it's one of these. It's going to be an interesting challenge. It's 166,000 square feet here, and it's 2 stories, and I think there are a lot of possibilities. And right now we're trying to determine the best strategy for this space and some of the uses, whether it's going to be to segment it and sort of partition spaces and provide some options, which I think something like this would be supportive of that, in that you could, pitch this to a client and they could look at some options, or if you narrow down some options, of a particular type of use, be it office or whatever, and give them some visuals before someone's committing to dollars otherwise. So I think, because it's such a large space relatively, I think something like this could be very useful. But still want to understand a little bit more, and we've got to be clear about our strategy here with this particular property, what we want to do with it, what are some of the reasonable, possibilities, and then we may end up using something like this.
And keep in mind, the pricing model is typically based on square footage, but it's a combination of square footage and complexity. But also the pricing is not static in that it's one-to-one, because sometimes doing a larger space, like I could do a 1 million square foot warehouse in less time than a 10,000 square foot office, depending on what you're looking for.
The details, that would apply. How many walls and things like that, furniture.
Right. Exactly. All right. Well, that's the end of our presentation, unless you have anything else. Basically, you have the links to the actual previous webinars that are online.
I do.
So the big part of that you missed is in the video that I sent you.
Okay, so you have sent it already, or you're going to send something?
Yeah, I thought I sent you the email with the links. If not, I will.
Yeah, you did send something. I did look at those. In fact, I showed those to Paul here, the manager here. So we've looked at those. But I haven't seen what I'm seeing today. But right now, is that something? Was that one of the links? Or
this one that Chris has loaded is not part of the webinar.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this is just a different scene that he just loaded up as we were talking, because we were at the last slide of the PowerPoint deck.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go right onto our website actually, and then under the quick tour, this is right here. So you just click that and then, take the tour and see what it's like. And hopefully it's somewhat self-explanatory how to navigate. You just click on the ground once if you want to move somewhere. click and drag to look around, and then, you know, I turned off labels. You just turn the labels on and off here, and then you can go through and do some stuff.
Oh, look at the counter, yeah, different counter options.
Yeah, so we can change out counters, we can change out the cabinets, we can change out the wall colors. We can come through and we can do a whole bunch of stuff with this. So that's what's nice about the scene, is it shows some of the you know, the options that you can set up in a space, and how you can utilize you know, customizing a space with different furnishings and different options. So that's what this one's good for.
Okay, so go ahead. What I saw yesterday in those links, that was when doing that walkthrough. Is that the same product or a similar product, or what's the difference? Because I'm thinking that was finished, and I didn't see options there to change, like the finishing of the flooring or the wall color. So would it be that there could be a simulation like that where you're able to do a walkthrough with a mouse, but also change the wall colors or something, or the flooring?
Yeah, that's exactly what Chris is doing here. Because what he's interacting with is a real-time 3D scene. It's not a video. It's not still images. So him changing that out was just popping up the options and making those selections on an a la carte basis. And then in one of the other projects, we did it where the multifamily units had 4 or 3 layouts, actually 4 layouts, in terms of material selections. You could choose between package A, B, C, or D in terms of flooring, cabinets, backsplash, wall color for the condos. So we can either do it by package or on an a la carte surface basis.
I see. Okay.
Open this up real quick, Mike, just so, because I know you joined a little bit late. I'm going to open up the apartment complex here. CPA, it's crossing these areas. So we'll come in here and we'll show that, you know, you had the individual changes. Now, I don't know if you caught this, if this was up before you joined, but so we had the ability to click on individual objects in the scene and then change the surface. We also have the ability to go in and change the entirety of the scene. So if we click B here, what that's going to do is it's going to change out the floor, it's going to change out the counter, it's going to change out the, you know, the paint color, and it's going to do that all in one fell swoop. And the reasoning behind this was that there were different package offerings for this particular property. So it wasn't a la carte, but, and then you can see here, same space, different colors, different paint texture, different flooring. And once again, go through here, see the floor plan with those textures and materials changed out, and then drop right back into it again anywhere you want.
And you notice that it's running actually embedded in the web page, just like you would embed a video or an image, but also you can go full screen as well. So if you want to then maximize it and have it take over, you could do that. But it's still running from the web page.
That is the best rendering of a walkthrough that I can think of. I don't think I've seen anything like this. I've seen video where you move through, but nothing where you're controlling the direction. And the beauty of this is you can take as many as you want. So it's like it's like the difference between the cameras of old, where you bought your film and you had 24 shots or whatever it was, and you're like, you know, being really careful because you're going to run out. And then with this, I just, you know, I don't like this angle. I want to turn a little bit more this way. I'll take another shot, and I take another shot, take another shot, and then I can just choose whichever one I want. And, you know, the thing that we try to promote about this is the beauty of, you know, how much do you pay per render if you've got a site that's, you know, you're trying to envision, or, you know, you want to show a different state of it, maybe you want to furnish it, and you're going to pay for an individual image. And then if you want to go show it from this angle, well, they've got to get another render of it. So they've got to go build that out. They've got to, you know, charge you again per render. And here, you know, we're saying buy the model and do whatever you want with it, from embedding it into the website to making your own renders, and you know, ultimately even seeing the floor plan. You know, we've seen plenty of places where you go into either lease or rent a unit, and then you get to the website and they have this one singular image of showing what the 2-bedroom unit would look like, or the 1-bedroom unit.
You can't do anything with it, but you can look at it and you go, okay, I see where the bedroom is. But how much nicer is it when you can actually rotate around it, and then you can ultimately zoom in, and then you can walk through it, and you can, drop right into it and really get an understanding. Okay, that's how big the bathroom is, or, that's the layout. You feel like you've walked through space, even if you're not in the same state. So.
Yes. Yes. Very good.
We look forward to hearing more details on the project that you're working on. We could definitely work with you and your team in terms of visualizing conceptual layouts from a schematic standpoint, all the way through doing a finished complex. And then also, we can be building exterior in a finished state, and then have the interior be different versions as you evolve the design.
Well, the focus is definitely going to be the interior.
Sure.
And it's 2 stories, and I can tell you a little bit more history about it in another call, but and I can actually send you some information.
Sure.
But it's the uses. There are a lot of open space. It has been used as an office, the entire complex, actually. And so there are a lot of cubicle spaces there. There's a lot of open space now. And so there are just a lot of possibilities. And then there's also this whole issue. I don't know how things are about the office space and people going back to work. Do people talk about that much? Do you hear much about how that split's going now?
Yeah, we haven't had any. The research is kind of out. I think each company is handling it differently. There's no one size fits all solution based upon the type of office space and type of team you have versus the actual space layout and the functionality. I know that some companies are shifting to rotating shifts so that some people work on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and others work on Tuesday, Thursday, from the office, things like that. So it's really a wide mixed bag at this point.
Yep.
Yeah. I know if we look at like Google and Facebook, I think one of the major things that they've learned is how much cheaper it is to have people working from home, so long as they have good guidance and they have good measures to make sure that the productivity is staying the same. And what they found also is that when people work from home, they tend to work harder. So because they want to stay home, right? So there's that aspect of it, and I think that that's what's starting to evolve in the, the pandemic has brought about something that was inevitable at some point because we're all connected through the web easily, and I think it's just hastened this changeover. But like Mike said, I mean, everybody's handling it a little bit differently, but I think the consensus is for at least a good portion of the workers is that they want to continue to do what they've been doing in the same capacity and are willing to put in, a little bit more work to make sure that they get to do that. So.
Yep. So how do I see Mike's number here. I see the 281 number. And I'm sorry, who is the other person I'm talking with here?
Chris Thayer is our art director.
Okay,
I'm the art director. It's nice to meet you, Lathan.
Nice to meet you. Okay, so all right. Well, as I was saying, we had a meeting this morning. I've got a bunch of stuff to do, basically, and I think there's another webinar I'm scheduled to see at some point. I have to check the schedule there, but this definitely is a new and viable tool here, because I like the idea of visualizing. I've seen estimates, proposals for having work done, and you really don't know how it's going to look. It'd be nice at that time to have an image to work with, and to know how things are relative to one another, even the view within an office space. One office to another. How much spacing there is, you can sort of theoretically design things and then when you actually see them, it may be a little different than you anticipated. And I think this is really a good opportunity for people to be able to think about things and give them some possibilities they might not have otherwise considered.
Yeah, actually, one thing I was thinking of showing you while we got here for just another minute or two. If you go up to Trek, I was thinking to show the differences of a building layout for an office.
Okay.
So,
Oh, I see office renovation,
yeah, there we go.
I don't know why clicking it's not working, but we'll just copy it, paste it to a new tab.
And so this is the existing state of the building. The owner was an architect and he was getting ready to sell the building. At the same time, Trek Bicycles was a tenant within the building. And they had a hard time visualizing. He was proposing that for them to buy the building and turn it into their new regional headquarters, because they were planning on building a new regional headquarters in that area that they're going to move into. So instead of buying a lot and starting from scratch, he was suggesting that they could actually remodel it as they needed. So we visualized it both as it is, which Chris has here, both inside and out. And then we showed him the future state of a potential layout. And between this and then the version of it with just the structural elements, no non-structural walls and things were in there, that gave him the ability to do several what-if scenarios. And I believe it actually resulted in Trek buying the building or the property from them.
Great. Great. Yep. Being able to see what's possible, a realistic idea, a reasonable idea that's not, just so, so much theory or just sort of an imagining that may not really be accurate.
Yeah, but the thing that we found too is that, we have multiple solutions, but for this particular one, so this is called our quick tour, and, it runs through the web, doesn't require any downloads, doesn't require any special hardware, and, it's very, very cost effective. And that's why, we generally show this one more than some of the other stuff that we do, because, this is the price point and the level of fidelity that, suits most folks when it comes to showing off a space. And, the turnaround time is fairly quick as well, too. So.
Okay. Great.
I'm glad you're able to join today.
Yes, I am glad I was able to do so as well. I've got a lot of things to think about here. I mean, there's a few. It's just so much space there, and I'm thinking about there's a single user, then there was, as I say, segmenting it, and
Right.
20,000, 10,000 here, 15,000, that kind of thing. So we've got a few things to think about. And I think this would really help for someone to be able to visualize some possibilities rather than looking at the space and what, a lot of times people, and not everyone who I think sees these spaces has the same eye for what can be. A lot of them are looking for turnkey, and they walk in and they're wanting to see something as a finished product. And, it's a different step to visualize or, to conceptualize what else there could be there, and to have some realistic proportions, the measurements, the detail, all that's so important. Just sort of speculating, you put this here, you can have this there. So when you see some measurements and and it maintains the scale as you're walking through, that's a really important thing. As I say, I even walked into a closet there. You could turn around and look out and see the rest of the space and walk through. I mentioned the doors there, but I think that realistic walkthrough is a big help.
Sure. Glad to hear it. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, this is the home. Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, this was under development, and initially this wall here, so we talk about this in one of our other presentations. So this entire wall here that you're seeing, this glass, was initially closed off. This was a a little entertainment room here. And, you know, when you come into the space, though, you can see it because in the virtual tour, it's easy to get the feel and understanding of the layout and the, you know, I say personality, but really it's what it is. It's the feel and personality of the space. And when you came over here, it just felt so closed off that, you know, imagine this wall being solid, that as you look in here, all you saw was the living space, and it didn't reveal the rest of the house, so the house felt smaller. And so by taking the virtual tour in advance, the developer was looking at this going, well, you know, let's knock down this wall here. Let's put this all as a glass partition all the way around and change this into an office. And, you know, immediately you can see and feel the difference in how this changes the, you know, the configuration of the space and makes it feel so much bigger just by making a change to one of the walls. And that's all it takes sometimes. But you don't know it looking at, you know, a render or looking at a floor plan. You know, everything seems like it's on the up and up and it would work, you know, so.
Great.
All right. Well, thanks again for your time, and
Okay,
we'll definitely be in touch.
Okay, yes, definitely. I've already printed out I have a project proposal here that I've given to Paul. Paul is the manager here. That's Tiberti Management Company here. Oh yeah, you have that here. And so we've got a few things to look at and think about, but this is looking very attractive to us. So
Glad to hear it. Thank you.
all right, great.
All right.
All right. Take care, Lathan. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate the information and all the explanations. Have a good day.
Thanks. You too.
You too.
And bye-bye now.